ago on the road, win in Kalamazoo, but now a new week, the defending MAC champions and NIU come to town. Thoughts on the week that was and looking forward to this week?
You know, we talked a little bit about Western Michigan being a rivalry, talked about it in terms of the Michigan MAC trophy, talked about how good the games have been, you know, between us and my time here and really for a long time, and was pleased with, you know, how we came out to play, noon kick, and just close to a full game, 4-quarter complimentary football. You know, that and Arizona State would probably be the two. And then our attention has quickly turned to, like you said, the defending MAC champions and the team that's picked to win it again. And a really good team, a really good program that will take everything that we have, you know, to be able to have a chance to compete, to beat these guys. They're really good.
Coach, you tied Jim Harkema for 41 wins in program history. That puts you fourth on the list. What does that mean to you to move up on that list and be associated with another guy that did great things at this program?
Well, I know Coach Harkema has just been so good to me, so generous with his time. It's been an encouragement. He was at the press conference when I first got the job. We've asked him to come back and speak. I've had, you know, private conversations with him. He's attended golf outing when we asked him to with, you know, many of his former players. And so I just have a ton of respect and appreciation for him. And, you know, I don't know the list, but he's the one that's, you know, won a MAC championship and won a bowl game, and, you know, so he's the standard. And I just really appreciate the relationship that I have with him.
Can you talk about the defensive performance against Western Michigan? I know Jose's in the room, but he sets a school record with 4 sacks. As far as Jose Ramirez and what he's brought to this defense, how does he stack up against a guy like a Max Crosby or other guys you've had in this program that are on that list as well for sacks in a single game?
Yeah, I think, Greg, how many years of football has it been here? 132? 131. You know, so I don't know how many games per year you average that out. Is it about 10, you know, for 131 years? You know, for Jose to set a record, you know, for most sacks in a game, that's a lot of games. Really impressive. And, you know, he's garnered a lot of attention because of what he has done in last year and previous years in our program. And so people have been paying attention to him, and it's been harder for him. But he has done an incredible job of keeping his mindset, his attitude, his effort at just a really high level, and always thinking about the defense and the team. And then so, you know, at this point in the season, for this to happen in the way that it did, you know, there's some things that are right in the world, you know, and just super excited for him, but not surprised, you know, at all. You know, he and Max are different in a lot of ways, but they're similar in that they're just both, this is going to sound so simple, but they're both so difficult to block, right? I mean, in football, it's blocking and tackling. And, you know, Jose is very twitchy, uses his hands very well, and anticipates and just, you know, naturally moves in such a way that it's difficult to put your hands on him. And, you know, Max being again with the offense, the vast majority of the time was just a nightmare, you know, to try to block. He just, the way that he would, you know, move his body, and use his hands is just really difficult to block. And so they're very similar in that way.
defensively, you guys really pinned your ears back in that Western game, a very aggressive defense. Is it kind of a high-risk, high-reward type of defense when you play that style and you play a lot of man coverage? And were you worried about that at all?
Oh, I mean, worry is probably not the right word, but, yes, there is, when you're keeping two safeties deep and keeping things in front of you, it's very different than playing press man and having, a single safety deep. But, he just, the defensive staff, really the last 2 weeks felt as though that was the appropriate way to attack, those two specific offenses, and really feels it paid off.
Offensively, you guys got into a great rhythm early. Taylor Powell threw for 293 yards. Dylan Drummond, great to have him back in the offense. But is this really as well as the offense as Florida? I know they played great at Arizona State, but is this maybe the best the offense has played so far this season?
Well, I would say, again, Arizona State, I think we played complementary football. And I think it wasn't offensively, it was the offense, the defense, and the special teams really all working together for a sustained period of time. We got the ball first, and we were able to go down and score. Taylor and Dylan both, having come back from injuries, made a really big play there early, on the long pass play after we had run the ball well. And then the defense forced a 3-and-out and went back down and scored. Defense came out and got him into a 4th and 21 situation, got the ball back, went down and scored. So a play or two into the second quarter, we were up 21-0, but it was complimentary football. And then, obviously, the monster kickoff return. We had a great punt return, which was called back. Really consistent punting. I mean, it was complimentary football. It was far from perfect. I mean, the second half, we didn't possess the ball as much in the second half. But that's how I really look at it, is really all three phases working together.
Jalen Jackson has quickly turned heads in college football as one of the better return guys in the nation. Obviously, you put him back there for a reason. He's got great speed. He sees the field well. Did you know he would be this good?
I mean, it's always hard. I mean, every single guy that we recruit, we think that they're going to be really good. You never know exactly, how it's all going to pan out. Jalen didn't have a ton of production. His team offensively just didn't have a ton of production and whatnot. He played a lot, but there was enough to see that he was really good, and he is tough. I mean, he took a bit of a pounding, but he always just sprung right back up, and he still does that, to this day here at Eastern Michigan. And so he is, what we thought and what we hoped, that he would be. He's super dynamic. He's a really good human being, and he's not the biggest guy on our team, but he's tough, and he's really made an impact.
Can you talk about the mentality of this team? You guys go out and beat Western. You set a school record. It's the most lopsided victory in school history. First time you beat them 4 straight. And I may be reading it wrong, but this team was happy to win, but they know there's so much more work in front of them, where maybe in years past they beat a rivalry. It's a little more of a higher celebration. It seems like this team is a little more hardwired for the stack of mentality, if you will, and knows that there's a lot of work to be done yet to get to Detroit, get to a bowl game, do those type of things. Am I reading that correctly, or is?
Yeah, it's a great question for Jose. But we meet as torchbearer senior leaders, on Sunday evenings, and that did come up, not from me, but from the guys. Is that it was not a overly celebratory locker room. It was just appropriate, but that everybody feels as though there's so much more to do. I will say too, I mean, if you compare it to last year, we had the interception at the end, the 4th and 1 at the end to seal it. Sometimes it's the way that the game goes.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter like who you're playing. If you come back and score in the last second, I mean, you're gonna be sprinting out onto the field hugging somebody. So I think that, always has a role in it as well. But when we say that we have to learn from things and then flush it, this is the first time that we have stacked victories, and we're halfway through the season. So we have not arrived. We have not figured it out. We haven't done any of that yet. We're just, last week we played well. We've played well earlier in the year and have not been able to stack that or maintain that. And so it is an isolated game and week in which I'm really proud of our program for how we, came into the week, how we got ready for the game, how we were ready on Saturday morning for a noon kick, and how we started it, played complimentary football, all of those things. But that doesn't mean that we're like that now. That doesn't. We have to go try, to do all those things again. And track record's not very good.
Northern Illinois comes in, I mean, they're off to a slow start, but they're the defending MAC champs, I guess, until they aren't. What kind of challenges do you expect NIU to bring in here for your football team?
Yeah, it's a slow start if you quickly glance at their record. I mean, they're up on Vanderbilt. They're within striking distance at the end of the game with top 10 Kentucky, at Kentucky. They're up big over Ball State, and they're up, I think it was up 10 points with 5 minutes left. And Ball State did just a phenomenal job of coming back in that game, taking it to overtime. Toledo, they outgained Toledo in offense and yards and all of those things. There was 2 pick sixes in that game. I mean, it ended up being a 20-point game, but there was 2 pick sixes and a total of 4 interceptions. And we know, what it's like at Louisiana. If you turn the ball over 4 times, it is whatever the word is that's close to impossible. That's the right word. So it's in terms of us that are actually having to play Northern Illinois, we would be fools, and we're not, to think that Northern Illinois is not the Northern Illinois that they've always been. They're a really good team, and they just haven't scored more points than the other team, and against some really good programs.
Final question for me, and do the guys you've had transfer into, the young guys, do they have a grasp of how hard it is to win in the MAC every week? Some of these guys that are playing their first season in Eastern Michigan, because it is, as you said, you've talked about Northern Illinois and how close they've come in those games. Regardless of records, it's a tough tough conference to get W's every week.
Yeah, I think we have great leadership in our program. I really do, and I think that the younger guys follow that leadership. So without having experienced it first, I think, our guys are aware as much as they possibly can be. And then we've also experienced it. We're 1-1. We've not won a home MAC game yet. I mean, we played well versus Western, but again, that was on Saturday. It's Monday now, and it's Northern Illinois, and yeah, we've started over, and we are 100% focused on, playing the team that's picked to win the whole conference.
Thanks, Coach.
Alex, Dave?
I didn't know anybody was on Zoom. I've just been sitting here monopolizing the entire press conference.
Alex, can you hear us?
He doesn't want to talk to me. He's waiting for Jose.
I know he's there.
Oh,
There he is.
There we go.
there we go.
There we go.
Hey. All right, sorry about that. But what I was trying to ask, Thomas Hammock, of course, what he's kind of known for is, of course, he's a proud alum at NIU, doing a good job there, but it's running the ball that he's really branded himself as a coach. What does he do to really have success at his post, and how do you look to kind of defend that?
Yeah, he's very good at coaching that, and our defensive staff is hard at work right now. I mean, I just talked to him briefly before I came down here. Tons of different personnel groups, and they are absolutely committed to running the ball. They're good up front. They've got great backs, and again, they're committed to it. They know what they're doing, and they're super effective. So we're in the middle of trying to figure it all out right now. But we've faced them before, and they're tough. They're physical, and they're good at it. And so it's, our team knows, and we talked about this Sunday night, we've got to physically, mentally, emotionally, all of those things. I mean, be ready to go and be ready to play at a really high level because they're really good.
Their quarterback situation, I'm pretty sure Rocky Lombardi, he might still be hurt. We'll wait to see on there. But even so, they've been trotting out Evan Hampton. I know he had the 4 interception game, but still he plays well enough to respect him. And of course, behind him is Justin Lynch, younger brother of everybody's favorite Lynch in the world. How do you kind of assess the quarterback room that NIU has there, and how can they kind of lead the offense as well?
Well, we're preparing for Lombardi to play. I think he's been dressed the last couple of weeks, and he's obviously super talented and has a crazy it factor and all of those things. So we're preparing for him, and then for Hampton, and we're well aware of Hampton. We recruited him, and so I don't know the younger Lynch, but am very aware of who you're talking about. So yeah, it's halfway through the season. Every team, I would imagine, in college football is, shuffling people and dealing with being banged up versus injured and being able to come back and all of those things. And yeah, they've whoever's going to be behind center is going to be a really good football player at Northern Illinois University. I promise you that.
And my last, the last weekend at Western was actually your 100th game coaching EMU. I know you're kind of in the middle of the season. You have a lot of grinding out to do, but still, as kind of like a reflection point and kind of like a milestone number for you to cross, how do you reflect on your time, as EMU's coach, and kind of to how you got to the program to what it is now?
Yeah, one of our players, Luke Cameron, came up to me in the locker room and said, "This was your 100th game here." I had no idea. I didn't even know if he was right. But then, trying to do some mental math. I'm halfway through my ninth season and all that. So that's cool. Again, I'm so proud to be the head coach here. And I can't possibly reflect on, 9.5 years or so. I'm just really, really proud to be, part of the leadership of this program. And I wish we've, out of those 100, I wish we'd won more than we have. But at the same time, I really believe in our people and how we're doing it, and I really believe that the vision that we've always had for over 9 years is that we can make this football program a source of pride for this department, for the university, for the city of Ypsilanti, and even this region. And we're going to keep working our tails off to make that happen.
All right, thank you.
Dave Gerke, anything from you?
Yeah, Chris, is this your most complete team? Because I look at Powell and how he played. He hit all 3 tight ends in the first 3 series when we scored. Talk about this team, because it looks like it's got all the weapons to do a lot of damage.
I think that remains to be seen. I think that our best version of ourselves is pretty darn good. But we're only halfway through the season, and we've been far from perfect. I think that if we're not at our best, then we would be average to below average. And that's, I'm putting myself at the very beginning of that. If I'm not at my best, then, I'm going to get beat by the other coaches in this league. So that definitely, remains to be seen. It was a week ago, we didn't score any points in the first half. It was 2 weeks ago, we gave up 50 points to Buffalo. So, those weren't the best versions of ourselves. You can also look at it, had some big question marks with our specialist position outside of, Stephen Bird. But we are really pleased with the combination of Jesus and Brady in our kicking game, and Mitchell Tomasek has just come through big time for us in our culture. There's not just one person out on special teams. There's 11, and all of those guys are serious about it and really playing hard. Again, just our defensive staff, I think in the last couple of weeks has put together specific game plans for who we're seeing, and it's really proved our guys have really taken to that and played the game plan, and it's really worked out well. And we've had 2 different quarterbacks, and we've had guys who are injured and not, and the consistent deal has been that we've been able to run the football, and so all of the pieces are there, but the story has not been written yet.
Anything else, Dave?
Yeah, what does Powell bring to the table? Because in that no-huddle offense, he looked really, really good. He was hitting everybody.
Yeah, first of all, he was voted a team captain, just getting here in January, and I just, I don't know if people understand what a big deal that is. I think it's a really, really big deal, and so, what does that tell you? One, the guys obviously think he's a good football player, but that he fits our program, that, the guys like him and respect him. I don't know, I just think that's an incredibly complimentary achievement. He's really smart, and he was at the meeting last night and just challenging the group to prepare even more and harder. It started back in January when we first got here. He would beat me to the office. It was in the offensive staff room, watching film, and at first you're like, okay, new guy and all that. Well, it didn't stop. It hasn't stopped. He's passionate about it, and he's really football smart, and he's very accurate, throws a great ball, and again, the guys, like and believe in him. I'd also tell you that for 2.5 games, Austin Smith was our quarterback and did a fantastic job, and having both of those guys available, makes it I think, difficult for defenses to prepare.
Thanks.
Yep.
We'll turn it over to Jose now, man of the hour.
The main event.
Go get 'em.
Let's go.
Let these guys go first. I don't know. We have questions for Brian.
You good to go?
All right, Alex, we'll kick it off with you for Jose.
Anything. Jose, you know, you guys on defense, I think one thing that you guys have had trouble with, like the first, like probably 3 or 4 games, is just like getting to the quarterback and getting pressures. The last couple of weeks, you guys have done a lot better as a team, and especially with you specifically. In the first drive against UMass, you had us back, and you kind of set the tone there. And then last week against Western, same deal, even bigger. You know, how have you guys been riding out the season so far on defense, and how have you been challenging yourself to improve, you know, each and every week?
First of all, you know, I don't know, I feel like every week we feel like we got to stack whatever we had going on. So just like you said, the first couple of weeks weren't nothing good going on. So one thing we had to do was avoid the noise of everything outside that was going on, of, like you said, not getting to the quarterback or this and that, and just steady improvement every day and just starting over every week and trying to get back to what we know we are. And at the end of the day, we know what we got inside, and we know that our numbers, what we do on the field is way better than what our numbers say. So we just try to keep stacking every week.
Did you like feel anxious at all? Like okay, I haven't gotten to the quarterback yet. You know, I know I'm good enough. You know, you've done it before, but like it's a new season. When am I finally going to get there? Did you find yourself like getting to that point? You're like, okay, when am I going to finally get to the quarterback?
Yeah, them thoughts come in the back of my head, but I don't know. I always kept my faith and my hope up, and you know, my teammates always got my back. So regardless of what's going on, we, like kind of like what the things say, like we always start over every week. It don't matter what went on, if we won or we lost. It's just like starting over and getting back to the basis of what we started doing. So what happened last game, like, yeah, it was cool and everything, but like that's just preparation we've been doing. That's preparation. Like what Coach said, just every week, just being in the weight room, being on the field, that's just, I don't know, we just kept going. It's not something that, like, I feel like it came out of nowhere. It's just something that we kept working since game 1, since week 2, since week 3. And then when it came to show, it's just, I don't know, when the blessings come, they come in abundance.
You made a number change at the beginning of the year from 55 to 4. Just kind of wondering what the, you know, significance there is.
So I went on my exit meeting in the spring. You know, I was talking to Coach Creighton. I was like, man, I don't know. I used to have him before in high school, but I feel like I was just on a different journey in life right now, and I feel like I'm on my spiritual journey. And it's just like that day I kept seeing forward, and I was like, man, at this point in my life, man, I just want to do everything for God's glory. So when I talked to Coach, I was like, man, I might as well get that forward. And it's just, that's the main reason I got it. And I feel like everything I do on the field is just, or off the field, on the field, I just want to do it for His glory. So that's the main reason.
And you're a Florida guy, of course. I know this is a couple of weeks, you know, from it happening, but of course, you know, the big hurricane kind of came through your guys' state. You and a couple of the other guys that come from Florida had brought out the wrench before that UMass game too. I'm kind of wondering, you know, how did you guys, now living up in Ypsilanti, many miles away from Florida, how did you guys kind of, you know, cope and deal with it, and just kind of wondering if you guys, you know, you guys are doing okay with your families and whatnot?
Yeah, first of all, you know, we all blessed that our families are good, but, you know, there's people back that's not good, you know, flooding and stuff like that. So we know, you know, we still give our hearts out to them. But, you know, it's being up here is different because, like, you know, in high school, you get hurricane season for us, you, like, miss a football game, you miss school. So you kind of sad that you missing football, but you, like, happy that you missing school. So it's like you had a different look at life. You like, man, dang, the hurricane, man, we don't got to go to school. That's good. We in the house. But, like, now being away for a couple years at home, you see, like, how it impacts people's lives for real. It's not something that's just like, you know, oh, it's just a hurricane. But being in Florida, sometimes that's how it feels. So not being there, you know, Coach Creighton and all the guys checking on us, calling us, that really helped. Like, it's real, like, I feel like it was real good at having this family atmosphere. Like, Coach telling me, like, Coach told me in practice, like, man, make sure when you get out of practice, call your mom, make sure they're good. So, we're blessed that our family good, but we hope everybody else that's down there is recovering and doing better.
Yeah, happy to hear your family's doing good.
Thank you.
With NIU coming up and the rest of the season ahead, of course, what's kind of on your mind with NIU? How are you kind of game planning for them, and what are you expecting to see, the rest of the way?
We're gonna get that game plan ready. The coach is gonna have that all ready for us, and we're just gonna trust the process. Just like Coach said, like the last couple of weeks, we just been trusting the process. And kind of like we had our leadership meeting yesterday with all the seniors and all the leaders on the team. And Taylor came out of he told us last week too, but he just said do something different that you did last week. So like, if you came to watch film this last Monday at 10 o'clock, man, come at 9. Let's just get 2% better. Just start over and just see what you can get better this week. We're gonna take a 1-0 approach every day and just try to bid on that.
Right on. Thank you.
Dave or Tom? Tom?
Dave done. Did Jordan Crawford buy you dinner after you helped him get a fumble recovery?
Nah, he ain't buy me dinner, but shoot, they made it happen. So that's all him.
Did you like the style of play the defense came out with against Western as opposed to some of the defenses you guys have been playing earlier this season, that more attack mentality?
Man, yeah, I mean, I love it. Like, whatever coach put on a drawing board for us, the X and O's, we're going to get it done. But like you said, I just feel like they've been doing a great job, and they've been putting us in the best positions to win. And I just shout out to them, the corners, the safeties, the young guys like Q and Cam, big stretch. They just been stepping up. We got injuries with Blake Bogan and Russ, but they came to play and they came to show what they was about. So good shout out to them. That's the reason why, I get to do what I do, because they back there scrapping stuff up and locking everybody up. So.
And that is part of it, Jose, is it can get lost in the conversation. The focus is on you getting 4 sacks, but if the secondary playing man coverage or whatever, zero coverage, doesn't do their job, it makes it a lot tougher on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, yes, sir. That's all that was cover sacks. I'm just, like, they was doing their thing, man. Like, I don't know how to, like I said, it's all God, but shout out to them boys. Like, they was out there doing their job, and every time I came to the sideline, I looked at them and tell them, keep doing what you're doing, because that's what I'm doing, it goes to show, like, I get sacks in here and there, but you go watch that film, you're going to see them scrapping every play.
Individually, what does it mean to you for your name to now be at the top of the list for sacks in a game in the record books here?
I mean, it's a blessing, man. Like, it's all God, and the reason I say it's all God, because sometimes I step on that field and I do something, I go back to the sideline, they like, Jose, what you do? I'll be like, man, I don't even know. But it's just, like I said, it's just a great feeling, Jerry on that list, Max Cosby, like, just hearing them names is just like, yeah, like, you thankful, but it's like, it hit different, because you see them names, you see them people that came before you, and the culture here. So it's like I'm real grateful, and it's like, dang, it really hit different. But like Coach said, like, I mean, like, we enjoyed it for that little bit of moment, but once we got on that bus, Coach got 24-hour rule, but once we got on that bus, we ready for the next week. I know it's bigger than what that record was.
And who was the first person to blow up your phone after that game?
Shoot, my coach and Max, they all, I'm at, just to let it be known, like, he was like, and then he tweeted about it, so that was real cool, man, just seeing that, Like I said, it's like, who he is, and like, what he about, but it's just like, it's different when it's like texting you. It still feel like an unreal feeling. So it's still like a little kid, just like getting a text from your big bro, like, dang, like, that's cool. It feel good.
Thanks, Jose.